that we did in our review of class, we learned persuasive techniques. And we had to take a stand on something that we felt very strongly about. So we did the No Child Left Behind policy. Now, when we went into this project, it was only to get a good grade. But once we actually progressed, we researched about this subject, we found out the extents of this policy. We were so disturbed, it became something more to us, a way of getting our voice heard. And in the next few minutes, we are going to express to you just how strongly we feel about this policy.
The No Child Left Behind Act is a policy that lowers the standards of grades K through 12 so more students will pass grades. And as you can see, our title is No Child Left Behind, but the no is crossed out and replaced with every, because children are being left behind in education and not learning as much as they should be.
We have some charts to give you. The charts you have just received are representations of high school graduation rates in Texas from the year 2001 to 2008. If you'll notice, the years 2001 to 2003 high school graduation rates remain relatively the same, whereas in 2004, when George W. Bush originally went into office, he instated the No Child Left Behind policy, and high school graduation rates skyrocketed as standards were immediately lowered. Then, if you look at your charts again, you'll see a large decline in 2007. In 2007, there was a fierce political debate in Congress in which the renewal of the policy was momentarily delayed when high school graduation rates dropped lower than they had ever been, even before the policy. Then you'll see on the poster we have a graphic just there. It's a report card with a student getting straight A's with a college GPA of 1.8, is it, Mariana? 1.4. Because even if a student does pass the class with flying colors in an institution affected by the policy, colleges are independent of the policy, which means that those standards have been lowered in K through 12. They remain the same in colleges, so a student is not prepared.
And we have a few testimonials over here from people of significance. One is from Neil McCluskey and Andrew J. Colson from the policy analysis number 599. Despite promises from supporters that NCLB would be fundamentally different from previous federal education policies, focusing on academic outcomes rather than inputs like money, school buildings, or improved technology, it shares a critical feature with its predecessors. Its ultimate design was driven chiefly by political rather than educational goals, dooming it to failure. This quote represents the fact that this policy was not made to improve the standard of education that we have here in America. Rather, it was made to satisfy politicians and bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. Another quote from Bob Schaffer and Peter Hostra from the Heritage Foundation. The interesting thing now for No Child Left Behind is that there are very few advocates for it. There is no constituency for it. Parents don't like it, administrators don't like it, and kids don't like it. But politicians and bureaucrats in Washington love it, which should be the first indication to you that it is a troubled program.
Over the past 6 weeks, we have been learning about different persuasive techniques in class. This project was a chance to put those persuasive skills to the test. Pathos. A school teacher at Creekwood Middle School once said, "Before this policy, only some children were left behind. Now, all of them are." This quote clearly states the immense amount of absurdity that this policy has to offer. How such a policy could be passed by the United States Congress, I cannot comprehend. My peers and I are deeply troubled, to say the least, about the future of this nation with this immature policy that is, with a great amount of speed, poisoning the minds of our fellow American peers. My peers and I are saddened at the mere thought of innocent children who have no power against a legislator of the United States of America rapidly losing their knowledge, which they've tried so hard to attain. Logos. Obviously, creating a more flexible, balanced learning plan will allow children to pass classes that they are not qualified for. This can be shown visually by the statistic in the bottom right-hand corner of this poster.
Next, we have ethos, which is a moral appeal. It is only morally correct to give our children the quality of education that they deserve, because to set them up for the future, we cannot limit them to assist those who do not want to work for their own future. To even consider doing so is a wrongdoing in itself and should be frowned upon.
Next, we have a call to action. To improve our children's education capabilities, all of us must work together to abolish this policy. If it is not abolished, we must demand to be homeschooled. Even the disadvantages that homeschooling offers would be minimal compared to the excessive amount of ignorance that this policy has amassed upon itself and the innocent children of the entire nation.
Statistic. High school graduation rates have been severely affected by this policy, as you can see in the graph in the bottom right-hand corner of our poster.
And now we all have something personal to say about this policy. And I'm going to kick us off by saying, if there's anything I would like to be in life, it is successful. And no matter which path I choose to take, or my peers here and throughout the nation choose to take, you must excel academically. And if this policy remains, that will not be possible. So not only is this obstructing me and my peers now, it is obstructing our future, and therefore the future of our very nation.
Because the children of America have no power against the United States legislation, we trust them to create a policy that will be beneficial to all of us and to assist us in learning. So when a policy like this is created, then we need to stand up and create a suggestion that could replace this and help everyone in America. So my suggestion is the following. Because No Child Left Behind was a policy based on lowering the standards of education to cater to those children who do not learn as well as some do. Instead of limiting every child, create more levels of education, honors, on level, etc., to cater individually to every single student in America, instead of limiting all of those, even those who learn faster than others.
Well, I believe that because of this policy, it makes me want to learn even more, because they're limiting the amount of knowledge we can comprehend and learn in school. And when our school first opened, Creekwood Middle School, the people that went to school then were much smarter than the students that go to school now because of this policy. So this just makes me want to learn even more and to change this policy so that all students will be able to pass, but pass as they should, not because they're lowering the standards for them, but because they earned passing the grade.
As I was doing this project, I learned that when the government tries to limit the people's knowledge, we as citizens of such a great nation must stand up and fight. We must raise awareness about this subject that we feel so strongly about. When the government limits our knowledge, the government limits our power, because knowledge is power. That concludes our presentation. Thank you for the opportunity to express our views regarding this policy to such a distinguished audience.
Thank you.